AAA game developers want you to know that this is rockstar level nonsense for Scope, that it's foolhardy to set expectations higher, and Baldur's Gate 3 should not be used as a raised standard to RPGs going forward. Why was the first response to defend the current state of AAA gaming not be used?
Because Baldur's Gate 3 is rockstar level nonsense. I'm actually referencing a tweet made by Jason Berg, an Xbox developer, who also said, "Nonsense in this capacity is complimentary." How goes it? I'm nobody. I love BG3. I've clocked nearly 600 hours in game, but this is Patch Notes, where we draw conclusions based on facts, not my opinion, yours, or developers. So we're going to look at 4 claims, compare 7 studios, then apply the BG3 standard to show why it can't be the new normal. To catch you up, this started July 8th, 2023. In the weeks before launch, Xavier Nelson Jr., an indie developer, posted the following on Twitter. Like a lot of people, I'm deeply excited about what the lovely folks at Larian accomplished with Baldur's Gate 3, but I want to gently, preemptively push back against players taking that excitement and using it to apply criticism or a raised standard to RPGs going forward. Next, the full tweet mentioned in IGN's opening. I would not be surprised if this was more development effort than 2 or 3 games in the genre combined. It's rockstar level nonsense for Scope. Only a few studio groups could even try this. I can't wait to play, but this kind of effort likely won't be replicated this decade. That tweet is why I wanted to cover this. See, IGN posted Baldur's Gate 3 is causing some developers to panic on August 10th, 2023. That video has 1,868,872 views. Maybe you've seen it. It kicked off a Twitter dogpile continuing to this day. The problem is, IGN had a month to find, research, and cover this story. Question: did they check their claims? See, for IGN to be right, we need to know a few things, like how quickly do games release? What's AAA scope? How long are console generations? And how does BG3 compare? Didn't check that either, huh? Okay, then let's do that a line at a time, starting with line 1. I would not be surprised if this was more development effort than 2 or 3 games in the genre combined. August 3rd, 2023, BG3 released. After 6 years of development. How long do AAA games take? It varies, but a fair average sits between 2 to 6+ years, shown in announcements, actual releases, and dozens of interviews. Here are some notable RPGs to back that up. We'll call these short cycle games. In AAA terms, short is 2 to 3-ish years. 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition. 2016, The Witcher 3 Game of the Year Edition. 2020, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Carried by multiple sub-studios, AC games are known for stupidly vast, overly detailed open worlds, taking 100 hours or more to clear. Ubisoft's 3-year dev cycles often overlap, meaning their dev pipeline is continuous, not isolated, and that AC games would take longer to make at other studios. While The Witcher 3 is the hallmark for diverse and memorable quests. And due to piss-poor working conditions, BioWare devs actually hoped Inquisition would flop. All 3 series required substantial resources. Baldur's Gate 3 didn't have a multinational relay team and still matched their scale. Hey, have you heard about Final Fantasy XIV's award-winning expansion with a free trial up to level 70 and no restrictions on playtime? Guess what I'm saying? Let's compare some expansions. In our 6-year timescale, Final Fantasy XIV released 2 expansions in between BG3's release. 2019, Shadowbringers, 2021, Endwalker, 2024, Dawntrail. They spit that last one out a year after BG3 dropped. 14's expansions take between 2 to 3 years to develop, adding jobs, content, and zones, totaling 40 to 50 hours of story, basically making a complete standalone game. The 14 team even drops new content leading up to whatever the next expansion is. Bethesda dropped 3 expansions after Skyrim's 5 years of development: 2012 Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and in 2013 Dragonborn. Those added 20 to 29 hours of additional gameplay. It's true, expansions are built on existing games, resulting in a faster turnaround. To account for that, I included 5 full games, all major AAA releases, made by groups with deep pockets enabling long development cycles. The first line is the most subjective, depending on what constitutes effort and scope. The beauty of patch notes, my opinion does not matter, and BG3's 6 years matches or exceeds every example. I'll combine the next 2 lines as both technically speak to scope. It's Rockstar level nonsense for scope. Only a few studio groups could even try this. That's the line that caught the most heat. Let's unpack why. So what does scope mean to you? Tell me in the comments. For now, I'll measure it across 7 categories. You don't want me to read all of those, so feel free to pause. There is no universal list of scope or scale, but the point is, extensive gameplay requires extensive content and testing. Designing and rendering large, detailed environments demands resources. More content equals more writers, artists, designers, and engineers. Even smaller teams can face similar challenges. Those indie games still all took 5 or more years. By comparison, let's consider Rockstar is known for futterly massive titles. Grand Theft Auto isn't only the second best-selling game. It's often considered the most profitable entertainment product ever, taking the efforts of more than 1,000 people, 5 years across multiple studios. We're talking bigger than Star Wars and Gone with the Wind, even adjusted for inflation. GTA, $6 billion. Star Wars, 3.7. Gone with the Wind, 3.4. That is a scope and scale only Rockstar level nonsense can match. Rockstar, Larian, and CDPR's attention to detail is unseen anywhere else. It's Hollywood versus home movies. BG3 is definitely Hollywood. Realistically, how can every Devil or AAA studio match that? Few have the resources or expertise to equal Rockstar or Larian's development. The closest exception I found is CD Projekt Red. The Witcher 3 transformed them into an industry giant. Even so, CDPR's success was bolstered by Warner Bros., Sony, and Microsoft, from publishing to console support, much like how Larian made BG3. Their previous game, Divinity Original Sin 2, netted $85 million, allowing the studio to expand from 150 to around 400 people. By October 6, 2020, BG3 made $150 million over 3 years of early access. And that same year, Tencent bought a 30% stake in the studio. The amount is undisclosed. Clearly, Larian saw a hefty financial injection. Absolutely none of that is bad, but the context reshapes this story. According to Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, puts GTA 6's development around 8 years. From inception, BG3 took 6, placing it at the upper end of the range, actually making Rockstar level nonsense the most concrete line. Finally, the last line speaks to console lifespans. I can't wait to play, but this kind of effort likely won't be replicated this decade. Look, Hinges, this line's a layup. We're halfway into the 9th generation. Mid to end generational games mark a console's peak, often splitting games across current and next generations, as in 7th and 8th gen. C. Skyrim, literally Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, and God of War Ragnarok. To drop on current consoles, a BG3 size game needed to be in development years ago. It's been 2 years already. Shouldn't a similar game have released by now? At the least, we'd have heard about this mystery game. Maybe we'll see another, but we also have to consider external factors. COVID hit studios of every size, pushing back games to this day. For example, Lost Soul Aside, released August 29th, 2025, BG3 not only aspires to, it matches a scope rarely seen outside of well-funded studios. Baldur's Gate 3 level nonsense is only possible with A. external support, and B. a very attractive IP. Ambition and execution at this level is challenging. It's even harder to replicate, especially in risk-averse markets. So, of course, publishers love sequels and franchises that recoup $100 million budgets over an untested IP. Rami Ismail said, "We're literally stuck in a system where funding decides what gets made. Everything that's successful tightens the news, and everything that's unsuccessful is used as proof we should make more like it." Here's why this bothered me. No one tried disproving their claims. What did Nelson or Berg say that's factually inaccurate? It's taken over 15 minutes to set up and break down 4 lines. The real nail in this coffin? Writing, researching, and editing this took about a month. IGN could have found all this. So why didn't they? Sure, maybe Berg could have worded his tweet differently. The tweet itself still holds water, but it's a nuanced topic being discussed on Twitter, a site known for lacking nuance. Getting this much detail in tweets is an impossible task. So, real quick, let's apply the BG3 standard to AAA development by using 7 powerhouses releasing games on a BG3 timeframe. Gives us 1 to 3 games, totaling 14, maybe 21 games every 10-ish years. Something's gotta give. In this case, shorter games, simpler graphics, fewer features. Or, do you remember this meme by Jordan Mallory? I want shorter games with worse graphics made by people who are paid more to work less, and I'm not kidding. On the surface, that sounds like gamers get screwed, but it could also mean deeper, more focused and innovative games. If we keep talking past each other, avoidable misunderstandings will keep happening. Here's a reply to Jason Berg to show you what I mean. Vox Ratio says, "It's not the size or setting really, it's the depth that the game provides. It's the story, interaction, and consequences. The lack of microtransactions, etc. helps too. AAA studios have no excuses anymore. Larian's continued success is evidence it works. It's time for a change." Why did that tweet get my attention? This, Larian's continued success is evidence it works. It's time for a change. Is it though? Don't get it twisted, it's definitely time for change. Still, in the patch notes spirit, let's look at Larian's track record. Divinity 2 Ego Draconis released in 2009 as a buggy, broken mess that nearly killed the studio. CEO Sven Vinke admitted they had to ship it unfinished to stay alive. It needed a rebuild in the Dragon Knight saga just to be playable. Dragon Commander 2013 commercial flop. It was a weird genre mashup, barely sold, used to fund Original Sin, which itself barely kickstarted. Fallen Heroes 2019 was cancelled before release, spun off from Original Sin 2, publicly shelved due to a lack of quality and overextension. Larian faced every issue we have in gaming, releasing half a dozen buggy, unfinished, unpolished games rushed by publishers, while Vinke's own words directly support Berg's tweet from Games Radar Plus. Vinke said, "It's very hard for one developer to be working on several games at once. We tried it multiple times, we've failed multiple times." Look, Baldur's Gate 3 fucking rocks. I'll clear 600 hours of playtime when I get the time. And lay Zelda's best girl.
Big whoop, wanna fight about it?
Considering scope, scale, investment, risk, and resources, BG3 more than earned its respect. But that came with complexity and cost. Our frustration matters. Of course we should demand better. We're also talking about technical details of game development. Is it possible we reduced a complex topic into a simple narrative? Rebecca Harwick, senior narrative designer at Grimoire Games, sums this up best. You can't be appalled by how much big games cost to make, and make those lavish productions the standard by which all games are judged. I hope BG3 is a generous once-in-a-lifetime RPG. I hope no one expects a 10, 20, 40-person team to make one. This being the internet, I should add, Expedition 33 had a core team of around 33 people. Sunfall still outsourced multiple parts of development. In the end, this all comes back to BG3 is making some devs panic. No, it didn't. We keep demanding raised standards. Again, we should. We also say we want developers and studios to talk to us. Berg and Nelson did. They weren't disagreeing or condescending.
Why was the first response to defend the current state of AAA gaming?
Devs weren't defending the status quo. They were trying to talk to us. They were spitting nuance and factual context. We don't have to agree, but what good is talking if we never hear devs out? This was a perfect moment, a perfect topic to have a conversation that raised the standards of gaming discourse. Here's the thing. I'm trying to fill holes in the conversation, but come on. I've got a skull for a face. That was a choice. I am not the good guy. This isn't altruism. I'm a dude in a room who needs a job, and nobody wants this one. Entendre? Either way, that's Patch Notes. If you've made it this far, why not pimp, like, and subscribe? Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Tell me in the comments. The source document has relevant articles, blog posts, and videos. As always, remember,
Must be free of bugs.